Hi, welcome back to another Underground Virtuosos video. My name is Paul. I'm a violin viola teacher located here in San Diego, California. So today we're going to be talking about what not to do in your shifts and things to watch out for. Things that can maybe help you improve your shifting practices even more. In the last video, we talked about intro to shifting, got you going on a few finger patterns and how to actually properly go from point A to point B. We briefly talked about, things that you should be looking out for when you're working on your shift. But today we're going to really dive into that. So let's get started. The first thing we're going to talk about is not squeezing. This is a common problem amongst many students out there, and it's just their thumb wants to grip, their finger wants to press extremely hard, and all of that just makes your shifting that much harder. So a few things to try to make your shift to help you shift out a little bit is to first just move up and down the instrument. You can have your thumb and your hand around the neck of the instrument, but you don't have any fingers down. You're just trying to feel this motion. Now, the trick is not to go fast. The trick is to make sure that it feels smooth. Okay, if it feels like your hand is stuttering going up, or feels like you're dragging, then you're squeezing a little bit. Okay, it should feel very easy. Kind of imagine like an escalator. Okay, that's the first step. The second one would just be practice the shifts without your thumb on the instrument. Just kind of get the hang of, being able to shift without the thumb on your instrument. And this will just completely take away the fact that you feel the need to actually have your thumb doing anything. Okay? All right, so those are kind of two little things you can try out for in your own practice when it comes to shifting. The next thing is aiming for position instead of aiming for finger. So I would say most of us here, when we're shifting, we're thinking about that next note that we're trying to get to, right? And that creates a problem where we're only aiming for that finger instead of the position. Now, you might ask, like, why is this important? I'm aiming for that note. I might land in two on that note. So then what's the problem? The problem doesn't fall on that note specifically. It falls on what comes after that note. Often when we shift to a new position, we're staying in that position for a while, right? So if I go from first position to third position, I might be in the third position after for a while, right? Now, if you shifted and only paid attention to that finger that you're arriving on and not what's happening with everything else and you didn't aim for position, what could potentially happen is you could land with your whole hand a little bit too low or a little bit too high. Even though you hear the first note that you play in the new position being in tune, your rest of your hand might not be ready for that position. Let me show you what I mean. So I'm going to go from 1 to a 2 in third position, but I'm going to only aim for that 2. I'm going to purposely shift a little bit too low. Okay, here we go. Okay, so you heard the E. Yeah, so I landed on the E, but where's my first finger? I'm just going to play this note for you, okay? I just shifted up. I didn't do anything to the first finger. Here we go. That doesn't sound like a D because that's a C sharp, yeah? So what you should hear ideally is, yeah. Right, so I shifted to third position, and then I can easily just play the D, and knowing that it's going to be in tune, instead of like a, right? So what you heard just now is that I just aim for that second finger, right? So once I land there, I stop thinking about anything else. I didn't even think about if I'm shifting to the position. And I played that first finger for you, and it was way too low. It could also be way too high, but this is just an example. So when you shift to a new position, make sure you're really aiming for that position and not just for the finger. An easy way to check is just play the first finger. So you could be playing a 1 to a 2 pattern, 1 to a 3 pattern, but once you arrive on that top note, play the first finger. Vice versa, you can do the same thing going down when you're shifting. So you can play from third position, play a first finger, and then you're shifting down to a 2. Even though you're playing a 2, check your 1. Is your 1 in tune in that first position? Because that is your position. That determines your position and your hand frame. And if your hand frame is good, and then you land it in tune in that position for the first finger, then everything else will fall on its own and play pretty much in tune. Okay, so that's the second thing. The last little topic is bow speed. Okay, now bow speed is something that I would say a lot of students disregard when they first learn how to shift, because they're just paying attention a lot to what's happening in the left and not so much what's happening in the bow. And our hands need a connection, need to feel like they're working together. So speed can be that bridge to help the two to work together. So you want to try to match the speed of your left hand shift along with the speed of the bow. So let me show you what I'm talking about. Okay, and you can go faster in your practice. Right, and what you should do though is try to maintain that equal speed between the bow and the shift, and that will help you just to get the sense of feeling like, oh, they're working together, but also it just makes the shifting a lot more smooth and a lot more even. What you should not feel like is your left hand is moving a lot quicker than the bow, or the bow is moving a lot quicker than the left hand, because then you will start to hear practices kind of like this. Right, or your bow is too fast. Right, and even though you might be landing in tune and all that, it's just not going to be a good habit to develop, because if you try to put these shiftings into your music that you're playing and maybe there's a shift there, you don't want to randomly, develop this habit where every time you shift, you need to use a really quick bow, or every time you shift, it's too fast. These are bad habits that can be corrected and can be taught and learned well just from the shifting exercises alone, and then eventually applying that into your own music when you're working on something that has shifting in there. Okay, all right, so those are the little tips and little things to watch out for when you're practicing your shifts. Okay, I hope you found this video helpful. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions or comments, leave it down below, and hit that subscribe button. And as always, thank you for watching.